Join us for a review of the Rolls-Royce Cullinan Black Badge. Let's go! Looking at the front, you see the typical Rolls-Royce grille with the vertical structure, very strong and catches a lot of views when you look around people. Conservative design of the LED headlamps, LED daytime running light in the top part, and the Black Badge version adds some dark features. So we have a lot of black background, for example, also Emily or Spirit of Ecstasy. The figure is all darkened out, so a more sinister look indeed. You can also make Emily disappear, for example with closing or opening the car again, but you can also do it intentionally from the interior, from the infotainment system. 5.34 m, 17 foot 5 or 210 inches the length, 2.7 tons is the weight, and it's using an all aluminum platform from the Rolls-Royce Phantom, not from the BMW X7, although there are some technology features that are being shared. Then you can see here the Black Badge, 22-inch wheels, also with black accentuations, red brake calipers as a contrast. Of course, this Rolls-Royce logo here stays upright. In the rear here, an upright design as well, color kind of box-alike too. Then the vertical tail lamps, interesting the detailed work on the inside. Black Badge also comes again with the black accentuations. Here, for example, also the black outer exhaust tip. And here we go with the 6.75 liter V12, 571 horsepower, or here 600 horsepower in the Black Badge version, a little bit tuned, 5.2 seconds, or then here 4.9 seconds acceleration figure to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour, all-wheel drive with rear wheel bias and 8-speed automatic gearbox. Now to the interior, here inside of the doors, very high-class door handles and so on, pretty cool. Sound system for speakers there. Then there's a black-yellow design for today, and a rather very conservative steering wheel, also pretty large overall. Instruments here are a mix of digital and analog, you can see. That's where you control the lights. Typical with the high floor mats right there. It's a pretty cool feature, definitely. And then the seats, here we go. So far only animal skin available, and then you might say, oh, they just make your choice. But a friend of mine wanted to have a vegan Rolls-Royce and they denied it. They say it needs to be crash tested first, actually. So yeah, stuff like this can also happen. And so far there's no effort from Rolls-Royce Works to be animal free for the customers. Let's now get inside. And you have a higher seating position than in any other Rolls-Royce, and that's also one of the reasons you would go for the Rolls-Royce SUV. It's even more comfortable because of this upright seating position. Now looking at the interior, really central with the contrasting color and the contrast stitches that goes away here, in the curve. That's pretty cool. Then the analog clock right there, rather for the passenger. You can set some hotkeys here. Here, for example, lowering or raising Emily in the front. Yeah, why not having this as a hotkey? When you shut down the car completely, then also here, there will be a cover for the screen. On that, this is basically older BMW technology. Soon more details to that. Steering wheel here once again really large. On the right side you have some sound control. On the left side you set the cruise control. You can also move the steering wheel in, that you can see a little bit more of the instruments right there. This is a screen that is basically laid behind that. Then some analog features on top of that, so it's a mix, so to say, but the only thing you can adjust there is a very classic way here for consumption and so on in the very, very lower part of the display. Other than that, here with the middle console, this is the vintage style. We also know, for example, from the Bentleys here to open and close the middle air vents. Then in the lower part, you just control it like with colder or warmer like this, but you can also switch the upper and lower part from that. That's actually quite nice, still an analog way of an useful way. And then the multimedia system, this app view. We can also take a look at the map of the GPS, and you see here, this is then again the BMW styling, but from older generations, so they are not really keeping up with technology here. And then of course the suicide door opening here for the rear seats, and it is very, very plush here in the rear. You have plenty of leg room, so feel really at home here. It's really interesting with the high floor mats. Then you also have electrically folding out here that barely fits with my feet. Here this rear entertainment system, you can plug in own sources, or you can just mirror what's happening there in the front. So yeah, it's very interesting definitely here. You have a lot of space to move around, also from here to the middle seat or to the other seat then, and it's actually would be very nice to cuddle here. Also looking at the star ceiling, this is an option, by the way, this star ceiling. So 1344 glass fiber lights, so they don't use LED because LED would be a little bit bigger. Here's a more fine structure. There's even a shooting star function. From time to time you can see shooting stars going over the ceiling. And here we go with the trunk, 560 to 1930 liters would it be in the normal setup. It's a split hatch right here, also with this, let's say, picnic style. We know that from the BMW X5 as well, for example, or the X7. Here, how we can put luggage inside. Doesn't fit in the vertical way here. I'll now explain you why. You need about 14,000 euros or dollars extra. And then you get these additional picnic seats. Yeah, probably the most cost-intensive extra I've ever experienced. You fold this one up, fold this one up. Here we go with the table, and then you can have a proper picnic here in style. Definitely a very, of course, also color fitting to the rest of the interior. Yeah, that's something, isn't it? Hey, Thomas's driving part here with the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and we go to the low mode, which is not like for low gear. They just kept this name, so to say, maybe formerly used for going down hills or so for a longer time. But here it's kind of the sport mode, so really interesting. We go from 30 kilometers an hour. Let's see how 2.7 tons move with 600 horsepower. That's 200 kilometers an hour, 125 miles an hour, and hey, this BMW obviously wants to race us, but now decided to cancel it. Never experienced that on this motorway part. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, first time with the Rolls-Royce here doing this acceleration, and also first time being raced. Obviously someone was like saying, hey, it's the Rolls accelerating. Let's try to beat that. So this was a very smooth acceleration, of course, very powerful, but you felt the weight of the car. Now hard on the, well, not too hard on the brakes, but reasonably on the brakes, but whoa, that's pushing. So definitely feel how much weight is being moved. You also maybe saw that on camera when I was first accelerating, like, it was leaning backwards. Very interesting. Deactivating the low mode. Very powerful, of course, as acceleration still, and impressive what they can do. And Sound-wise, I'm not too impressed actually from this V12. Are you? Yeah, and then here in the Black Badge version, 4.9 seconds instead of 5.2 seconds in the acceleration figure. So instead of 571 horsepower, we got the 600 horsepower. Yeah, does it make too much of a difference? Actually, not really. But no, we take that extra horsepower today. In the tunnel, let's go to the low mode again. I'll also raise the right window. Then you also hear the difference, like from the noise insulation. And yeah, let's hit the throttle. Not too noticeable, but now, I mean, in the tunnel, listen to how loud it is actually with the window down in the tunnel. And now I'll raise the window up again. And it's so silent, you wouldn't even guess we are in a tunnel. That's amazing, you know. And also so cool to look at the star ceiling here. That's actually the best thing when you're sitting in the rear of this vehicle, driving at night, driving in a tunnel, sitting there, looking at the star ceiling. Maybe even then, you know, catching a shooting star from time to time, which is inbuilt in this function. Yeah, to me the most favorite feature here in this vehicle here today. And one more acceleration for you when we are already at the speed, 90 kilometers an hour. Let's see. That's again 200 and whoa. The steering wheel is very loose, especially at higher speeds, so it doesn't give me the best feedback. Whoa. Yeah, it doesn't feel so much in control actually, but I mean, SUV here at 200 kilometers an hour, still, what a noise insulation, so silent here still, due to, you know, although we have that speed. Not too stable here, but the rear axle steering, which goes in the same direction as the front wheels, in this case, makes it more stable. So it is suspension-wise more stable than expected, also at higher speeds. But then again, whoa, this, you know, the steering, that could give you better feedback. So it doesn't feel that much connected then. So that's, yeah, I mean, not supposed to be sporty or something, but still it would also be a safety issue if the steering would convey a better and more direct feeling, I think. Well, what about some city driving experience? And I mean, I always check out the reactions of people, and I mean, most cars are not really noticed. And recently the Porsche Taycan got a lot of attention and a lot of positive connotation. And here in this case, when, you know, you see like some pedestrian cyclists close by and so on, and they look at that car and it's like, what is that? It's more like you're from Mars or something and just landed and yeah. So, because, I mean, in this case, it's actually quite likable no matter which road you take that this vehicle has never been seen on this road before. Just, you know, matter of statistics or figures. So definitely catches a lot of views, no doubt about that. It is extremely silent also in city driving, here just at about 50 kilometers an hour, like 30 miles per hour, and you just hear yourself talking and think like, where's the echo? There's no echo, and you're absolutely insulated from your surroundings here. And I mean, it's quite enjoyable because it's such a silent and also still a soft ride. Here the Black Badge has a stiffer setup from the air suspension, and also these 22-inch wheels make some bumps on the road notable then. But then again, the air suspension is fighting these bumps on the road. So the air suspension is actually quite good, yes. And although we have the stiffer setup here in the Black Badge version, you still have like a little bit of this shaking boat-like feeling. And now to the conclusion for today with the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Well, of course, this very impressive Rolls-Royce design on the exterior. A vintage car with some modern features. In the Black Badge version, more sinister look, dark accentuations, a little sporty in the ride. The interior, interesting design elements as we know from Rolls-Royce. My favorite feature, of course, the star ceiling, and of course very comfortable, but of course also not too much space considering the exterior length. Very funny, of course, with this picnic option on the back, but if you pay 14K for that, yeah, I'm not really sure about that. But you know, the arguing is always that customers of this car would not look at the price. Yeah, I don't know. But then again, no alternatives to animal skin, and yeah, if you look at that, then really not sustainable at all, this vehicle. Of course, there are other high-class premium luxury SUVs which are better than in this respect. Driving-wise, it is a very soft and super silent ride. That's one of the key features. So silent, also at higher speeds. Not really stable or agile, but this rear axle suspension makes it more agile than you would maybe expect. So that was actually quite cool. Steering feeling a little bit loose, especially at higher speeds. So more definitely a cruising vehicle, especially with the long hood here in the front. Overall conclusion, I mean, yeah, this with every spec and so on, about almost 400,000 euros or dollars. Is it really worth it? You know, I'm always honest with you, and I have to say no. If I had all the world's money, I would still not buy this vehicle. I would rather go for Mercedes GLE or BMW X5 because they are the better cars overall, and you can have more fun with it. You go for this vehicle because it is so expensive and it's so exclusive that not so many other people have it. And you know, I'm interested in protecting the environment and also, you know, in protecting animals, but I'm also a car enthusiast and I'm not a saint, and I don't have the perfect environmental friendly lifestyle. But in this case, I really have to say, considering modern times and the fuel economy of this vehicle, the weight, the exterior to interior dimensions, the amount of cows that were sacrificed for this interior, I really have to say this is highly doubtful in modern times. And you can create a high modern luxury premium SUV also with a more sustainable approach. That's possible, but so far Rolls-Royce is refusing. They will have to change their attitude towards that, because looking at their, you know, very strong heritage, it's very conservative and it's very exclusive. But you can also transport these features in, you know, in a more futuristic world, or at least not futuristic, but just up to date. And that they don't even offer Apple CarPlay or Android Auto is another sign that they're really refusing a modern change. Yeah, some new modern technologies, they were actually quite cool, but I think they should have done more to transport this premium luxury heritage more into a modern, sustainable and high-tech world. Or what's your take? Definitely leaves a lot of discussion. Please join us here in the comments and see you next time.